Hey, I'm Nathan from Plotly. I want to talk a bit about the new table editor feature in Plotly Studio. So I have this data set, which I'll open up in our Explore mode. And this data set shows NFL scores from the last, give or take, 100 years. There's about 17,000 records in this data set. So something we built for the latest version of App Studio is a new system for managing tables and filtering them before you jump into the chart editor. With all the features in App Studio, one of our core focuses was on making sure that everything can eject code. And that's remains true here. And to facilitate that, we actually built a new library for the table editor in order to make sure that every single interaction you have with this UI will also be represented as Python code inside of your notebook. So you can edit it or customize it further if you want, or not. It's up to you. Um, so let's say I want to look at just the scores where a New York team won. So I can go into the filter, add in a filter here. And what I want to do is grab the winning team column, WT, and let's look for where this is similar to or contains New York. And this will run the filter automatically. You can see now this is filtered out to only show the winning team with New York teams winning. And the other thing that I'll do is this actually shows data from both the regular season and the playoffs. And I can actually run a group by function on this in line. So we'll group by type, and this will show us now it's grouping all of the times New York team was winning in the playoffs. And it's running an aggregation function on this. So the aggregation functions are shown here. They're automatic. Strings is showing me the unique count of strings. Numbers is the sum. That doesn't really make sense in most cases here. In some of the columns it does, but let's make this the average instead, so I can see the average winning team score. So I can pretty quickly get a sense of the data. This is pretty handy. And of course, there's code representing this as well. So as I've been interacting with the table, this is actually generating a transform function. So the transform library is our new library here. It passes in the data frame, and here is where the columns are defined, the groups are defined here, and the filters are defined here as well. This is a pretty low-level API for now, and we're looking at ways to simplify this into a Plotly Express type API. But to start, we wanted to make sure that we had everything captured. So it's pretty similar to the relationship with graph objects, if you're familiar with our charting libraries. So I can insert this into the notebook right away. I don't know if I actually want this group here, so I'll get rid of that. And you'll see that the code generation actually updated as well, and it removed the columns attribute, which isn't necessary anymore because we don't need to remove any columns. And if I insert this in the notebook now, the table gets added. It says it's generated by Explore, and it's inserted into it as code, which is super handy. So I could always filter this out or change this. Okay, this is New York. If I want to edit this to just Kansas, I could do so in line and rerun it. And this will show me where the Chiefs and the Cowboys were the winning team instead of a New York team. Now, if we go back to the Explore mode, let's filter again. We've got the New York filter set up here, and now we can jump into the chart editor. So the chart editor has already existed, and similar to the table editor, with the chart editor, I can generate a chart with the UI, which is all based on Plotly Express, which folks know and love. Switch over to the box plot, and let's make our x-axis the winning team. And now we can see the point spread. Now, this is date. We want the point spread. Let's do winning team score. And now we can see the point spread for games where a New York team won in a football game. I could also add a filter, for example, filter by playoff, filter by year, move things around, and all that will be reflected in the code. So now you can see this codegen actually includes two functions. First is the transform function, and then is our viz function. And this pretty closely resembles how folks will do data analytics in general, except for I built this with the user interface, and of course it folds right into the libraries. I can insert this into the notebook, come back here and continue working, or manipulate this. Because this is Poly Express, I can adjust things as I want to. So maybe instead of a box plot, I want a bar plot, which may not make sense for this specific chart type. But it's quite useful to be able to, jump into a data set, not know anything about it, explore and interact with that as a table, and then work from there, filter this down exactly what I'm looking for, and then bring it into the chart editor. So that's a quick introduction to our new transform library and how the table editor works the transform library to build great visualizations with Poly Express, all in a user interface.